storms, unshaken, unbowed. Through trials and verdicts, still standing proud. A titan in the tempest, against the raging crowd. He's got a vision for the future, gonna shout it aloud. Changing the wind, it's coming fast. A new foundation built to last. Cryptocurrency's the key, make the big switch. Power to the people, time to teach the rich. Legal battles can't hold him, he's moving on. With plans so bold, from dusk till dawn. He's rewriting the rules, a new dawn's day. From the hands of the few to the people's way. Say good.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Crazy Cryptonaut channel. I am Zester, joined by my co-host, Tommy. And we are very, very happy to be here this Monday morning. I hope everyone else is having an excellent start to the week. Mine's been going pretty well. Actually woke up not feeling exhausted on a Monday. So always a good sign. But how's everyone else doing? Good morning there, Kukla. Happy Monday morning, Mile High Trish. Hey, good morning there, Crazy Chester. And I still saw this one actually as I was getting ready for the stream. I saw your comment there, Mile High Trish, saying, Zester, I just saw that Search Assist AI says that Midnight Token release started on July 15th in the last 60 days. Website doesn't have that. Thoughts? I think that the AI or that the search engine or that Cardano themselves had been targeting the 15th. And I'm guessing that something got slightly delayed or not positive why there appears to be that distinction, but there does seem to be some different dates out there. I have checked, though, with Cardano, the company themselves officially, and they say that the airdrop hasn't started yet. So maybe they're hiding it from us. Luckily, we do have 60 days when that Midnight Token airdrop starts for all of us XRP holders and other crypto holders to claim our free tokens. So we should have plenty of wiggle room, but, it doesn't mean I want to start behind the 8 ball on that one. So definitely, Mile High Trish, I'm curious because we're running out of days in July. We're very, very close to running out. So hopefully it's soon or they give some clarity on what day we can expect to be able to start. Good morning, Randy. How are you doing? Kukla, Dance, Tina, Tino, and Tommy. Tommy came for it today. Tommy is ready. Yes. Tommy is not afraid of anything. And so the music and things like that don't scare him in the slightest. Tino, on the other hand, though, he is scared of his own shadow. Don't know why, but he's awfully funny in that regard. Good morning there, Deborah. Good morning, Katrinia. Good morning, Cecilia. And what's up, Joe Miller? And LG Lady, definitely, because we are going to be talking about a good bit of crypto news and a good bit of numbers. So it's very important one, even more important, I think, today than most days. So thank you, Kukla. Please do, everyone watching, remember that I, Zester, am not a financial professional. The content in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes and is not intended to provide financial advice. Please consult with a financial professional before making investment decisions. Thank you. Deborah Muse Wolf. FYI, I read that Coinbase no longer has learning earning as of May 2025. Deborah, I believe that is true for most users. I've noticed on mine that I still occasionally get not learning exercises, but reward opportunities. And so I think that they are changing how that program works, Deborah. And I know one other thing that had always occurred with Coinbase was that different users or different customers got different learning exercises. I managed to confirm that with people a few times. So I'm not certain if Coinbase is just closing down the public system. I'm not positive. I'm going to need some clarity from them on that one because I keep getting reward options to go through on my Coinbase account. So where what they asked me to do are very similar to the learning exercises, but they're typically like, go follow this channel, go watch this video. I've had a couple of those come out over the past month or so, Deborah. But yeah, no, we may be losing out on some of our free crypto, but I've got some big ones to tell everybody about today. I've got some big ones. All right. Deborah Muse, QQ, what does it mean on Coinbase Advanced? Taker fees, maker fees have been reduced. Okay. Taker fees and maker fees are based around when you place orders. And so when I mean that, like a limit order or a market order, there's a taker and there's a maker. Essentially, who is the one who is providing the liquidity in the situation, who is selling, and who is buying. And in that regard, you've got a taker and a maker fee, and it's split between the two, depending upon the fee rates. Coinbase is reducing those fees. Every single financial institution you know about is about to start slashing fees. Matter of fact, we're going to talk about that in our news today because something we had talked about last week, and we had even had questions in regards to, when is it going to happen? When are we going to see more options for people to pay with crypto? And I was like, oh, well, easily in the next couple of months, in the next year. Well, it took a couple of days. And PayPal has made a very, very large announcement. So we're going to be talking about that one in just a bit. LG Lady, what is this pretty purple crown for? It comes and goes? I'm not certain there, LG Lady. I'm not certain. All right. Fred.1. Good morning, Zester. Purchased an air-gapped cold wallet, Ellipal. Titan 2.0. Can you help with transfers funds, please, privately? Fred, the one-on-one service is getting very, very close. I would say I do not own an Ellipal, but I'm absolutely certain that I can help you with the transfer of funds there, Fred. And so definitely do send along an email, and that way I can make certain everybody who has sent emails are going to be the first people that actually even see the ability to schedule personal time before I actually put it out on the channel, because I do have a pretty decent number that are backed up in the email that need help. And I'm hoping to be able to start on that this week. So my hope is that, Fred, this week I will be taking and knocking out some of the one-on-one sessions. It appears as if things are very, very close. Oh, okay. Deborah Muse Wolf, the purple crowns are for the first few folks to press the like button, I think. Well, hey, that's awesome. That's really cool. That gives people a serious incentive to be like, hey, who is here first or whatever. I think what confused me is that because I'm seeing it through StreamYard, I don't think I'm seeing your purple crowns. I don't think I'm seeing the crowns. And so I'll have to go look over on the YouTube side in order to be able to check that part out. All right, though, guys, I'm so excited to talk about some of our news today. I'll, of course, still be answering questions, but let's jump on over real fast and start seeing some of these articles because we've got a particularly big one. Of course, as always, we'll start with where's the market at today. We're sitting back at $118,000 per Bitcoin. Ethereum sitting back under 4K, but much closer than it was sitting just a couple of days ago. XRP sitting at $3.17. We are down pretty substantially on the 7 days, but when you've done so well in the past month, well, stuff like that happens. XLM has taken a major slowdown, but it's managing to hold most of its gains, sitting at 42 pennies. All right, though, for the exciting one for me, here it is. You're going to be able to start paying with stablecoins and with cryptocurrencies at pretty much every PayPal retailer in just the next couple of weeks. And so this ended up happening even faster than most general expectations, or faster than I predicted last week, because I gave them a couple of months. before I expected these things to start rolling out. But, well, as we have previously discussed, most banks, most major companies, they had already built out this crypto and blockchain technology, planning on the Genius Act passing and planning on Trump providing clarity in the crypto markets. And it did not take PayPal a long time to jump on the opportunity. Fintech giant PayPal has launched a new payment option on Monday that will let even smaller U.S. merchants accept more than 100 different cryptocurrencies. You can even take and accept Trump's meme coin or fart coin. Any U.S. business using PayPal's online payment processing platform can opt in. Now, here's where things change up massively. We had talked about credit card processing fees, general delay on the processing of payments that's just caused by the current system, by the SWIFT system, and by traditional banking. Well, they charge anywhere from 3 to 10%, depending upon the type of account, whether it's a high-risk merchant account, depending upon the credit card and which one. Each has a different one. Well, with PayPal's brand spanking new payment service, there will only be a less than 1% on each transaction for the first year, and then that is expected to move up to possibly 1.5% for the next year. And this would bring down all payment processing and all of these business charges, well, by an absolutely massive amount, because these are also intended to accept international bank transactions. So PayPal will be facilitating both domestic and international. Now, as these transactions occur, though, this is something we had talked about where this was going to be the first step. And so I believe actually Gary Seven had asked just a couple streams ago, or maybe even last stream, saying, how are we going to see and when are we going to see crypto adoption in terms of being able to pay at merchants? And really where, the general process or starting point is going to be that your crypto is just going to be swapped to US dollars, and those US dollars are going to be delivered to the vendor, to whoever sold the service or sold the product. And that is exactly how PayPal is actually going about it. And so to settle the transactions, PayPal will let users connect existing crypto wallets they own to a checkout page. Depending on a buyer's crypto wallet, PayPal will sell the cryptocurrency on a centralized exchange like Coinbase, or, and this is very interesting, or a decentralized exchange like Uniswap. That is very, very cool because that takes away a lot of power, and that lets us go in and start earning the returns on when PayPal and when payment processors make these transactions. And this actually has got me thinking about a episode or a topic for one of our next upcoming streams is going to be based around the different yield and DeFi yield strategies and the different DeFi, DeFi applications, whether they're decentralized exchanges or lending protocols that we can participate in that are going to connect directly in to this mass adoption, because PayPal is going to be automatically making swaps through a liquidity pool you can participate in. And that means every time that somebody pays for anything with PayPal, with crypto, and your liquidity that's provided to that decentralized exchange is utilized, you're going to earn a return. If we're talking about mass adoption and the way we're seeing it, could be a lot of swipes. So we're going to be talking about that one in the next couple of streams for certain, because that was surprising. I expected PayPal to only use centralized exchanges, but it makes much more sense to use decentralized finance because they're going to get a better deal. But all right, so yes, they will be swapping your crypto. PayPal will swap your crypto on one of these exchanges for, say, a stable coin or for whatever they're trying to achieve. The proceeds of that sale will be converted into PayPal's own stablecoin. PayPal has launched their own stable coin. And so it's already happened. It didn't take months. It didn't take anything. It took a couple of weeks from the Genius Act passing, or less than that. Time flies at this point, for PayPal stablecoin to launch. And so PayPal's stablecoin is what will end up being what actually is sent to the vendor, and they will be able to automatically swap that back and forth to US dollars. And so they're using a hybridized form of being able to make that transaction occur, as opposed to going entirely out of the cryptocurrency space. And so here's an explanation from the CEO of PayPal. Imagine a shopper in Guatemala buying a special gift from a merchant in Oklahoma City. Alex Chris, president and CEO of PayPal, said in a statement, using PayPal's open platform, the business can accept crypto for payments. This move to let customers pay businesses with crypto is PayPal's latest push into digital assets. And so this one is extremely, extremely fast, happened crazy quickly. And of course, now with the Genius Stable Act, they're actually able to start putting it out there and utilizing it. So they've had this, PayPal has had this technology for a long time, but there was really no way to genuinely use it. Now that's entirely changed. Any merchant who has a PayPal account will be able to start accepting cryptocurrency payments for their goods or services. And it's happening now. And so very interesting, especially when you start to think about what that entails for the overall market and for decentralized finance on the whole. Because decentralized finance is seeing at this point in time an absolutely massive amount of money flooding into it. And that's something that's not really going very much appreciated, because everybody is so focused on, well, Bitcoin, new all-time highs, XRP, new all-time highs. Everybody gets very distracted by that, and aren't really noticing, I think, in terms of a lot of the financial analysts and the crypto talking heads, they aren't noticing that there is a massive push of money heading into decentralized finance, and into what they're doing is they're putting their money into these exchanges. They're putting their money in the form of liquidity provision in order to facilitate these transactions. So they're taking their Ethereum, their Bitcoin, and their stable coins, and they're pairing them in these liquidity pairings on PancakeSwap, Uniswap, 1inch. There's a million of them out there. And they're earning a return off of every transaction that occurs swapping between those two currencies. And so they're identifying which currencies these PayPal or these payment providers are planning on using the most, and what the customers are going to be using the most. And that's where they're putting their money in order to start earning interest. And so that is very interesting. Questions, I know, have probably started rolling in, but I had to make certain that everybody was aware of the fact that PayPal is now gone crypto friendly, and you will be able to buy things with your cryptocurrency and with your own self-custodian wallet. That's another really big part here. This allows users to connect existing crypto wallets to a checkout page. And so I don't have to have some kind of special application or, from PayPal. I don't need to have some kind of account with PayPal. I literally can just buy things with my crypto. I don't need to tell them who I am. I don't need to do anything for PayPal, because PayPal is allowing me to connect my existing crypto. I'm allowed to go in with my, say, MetaMask. MetaMask is the one I always like to use as the example, because it's very easy to connect to different pages like this. And so when you're going to a PayPal checkout page, a hot wallet like MetaMask would actually be very easy to use in order to check out and, say, buy some coffee or buy some mushroom tinctures from Freedom Forest Coffee. It'll be very easy, because you'll just be able to directly connect your wallet, make the transaction right there on the page, and you're not going to have to go through some kind of crazy sign-up process. At least that is by PayPal's definition of the service at this point. And we can rest fairly certain that we're going to have some cool functionality just based off of the decentralized nature and the self-custodian wallets being able to check out. All right. Yes. Now, Kokla, I absolutely will say I don't use PayPal. They canceled my account 2 years ago when I donated to the truckers in Canada. Kukla, for the same reason is why we're not watching me play around on the PayPal website because, well, I'm not allowed either. But this is a matter of steps. And this service is not a matter of them stopping me because remember, it's on the checkout page. It's the merchants who are going to need to be able to have this service. I may not actually even need a PayPal account in order to check out via their service, essentially, is the way that it's currently being described. But we will see, as this is literally something that's rolling out right now, and requires companies to opt in. And so as businesses start to opt in, we'll start to see how it works. Well, we'll see how it works when the rubber meets the road. All right. Musical lady, great topics to do those DeFi yields to do next. Yeah, absolutely. I think that one's going to be an important one. All right, Rich Roper, I bought some XRP, then I bought more, just over 2. Now need to buy a cold wallet. Where, which one? I was changing the handle as per Dr. J's suggestion. Rich Roper, as you continue to build up, then I would worry about it. Rich Roper, as I like to say to folks, it really comes down to when are you walking around with too much money that you might be upset about not having access to. That's when you want to worry about getting it over to a hardware wallet. Rich Roper, if you're just getting a little bit, it's not like it's a ton. Do you have it on something like Coinbase? I would not be overly stressed out. I would look at that as being the next step, but I would not put getting the hardware wallet ahead of maybe getting a little bit more of something that you do want to hold. And so it's one of those things where everyone has that personal level or tolerance of danger. Everyone has a different level. Everyone has a different pain threshold when it comes to their crypto. But Rich Roper, the reason that I suggest, though, that you make certain to keep it in mind is because of an example just like what Kukla mentioned with PayPal. Remember when PayPal shut down all the accounts of people that were donating to Canadian truckers, etc.? Remember, that's how centralized exchanges work. If someone comes in from the government, from the company, and screws the pooch, well, you're going to be on that same train with them. And that's the reason that you do want to keep it in mind. You want to be on that path towards self-custody, but you don't need to go getting it all into a rush because that's just going to potentially get you into trouble. So don't overly worry there, Roper. But I would say congratulations on beginning your XRP and your crypto journey. And that will be one of the next steps. All right, musical lady. Oh, I'm glad that you're doing well. Glad that you're doing well. Fred.1 saw this morning, Japan went to crypto. The yen is failing. Japan has been going through some massive movements, and Japan has got some very odd, very cool crypto programs that are coming forth now. Japan has been, some Japanese corporations actually have been using XRP for a little while. But yes, absolutely, Fred. We're seeing massive adoption of XRP and crypto on the whole in Asia, in particular, Korea, Singapore, Japan, etc. And of course, mass adoption by the wealthy in China because they try to squirrel all of their ill-gotten gains out of the country of China via different cryptocurrencies. And so there's also a pretty big adoption over there as well. But they don't really allow, the government does not allow their average citizens access to cryptocurrency in China, not actual access. All right, LG Lady, but will PayPal have any control over our balance? See, that's what's awesome, LG Lady. The way that they are talking about it, no. PayPal will not have any control over your balance. All you are going to be doing is connecting your wallet to the checkout page. That's your wallet. You're not giving PayPal your wallet. They don't have any of your information about that wallet. They don't have your 24 words. They don't have any of that. They don't have your PIN code, nada. And so, LG Lady, it seems as if, yes, this is the way that we want it to work. This is essentially the way that we want the financial system to work. We want to stop allowing for this centralization of control by these companies who do not have our best interests at heart. So no, looks like it's going to be good. And yeah, and I think so. My like Trish, I still have a PayPal account, so I'll keep an eye out there. Don't like them, but I've kept the account. Mile High Trish, I would expect for PayPal users to start getting some offers. Some, hey, hold crypto in PayPal, earn this, get this, make your first payment with stable coins, or buy PayPal stable coin, and get bonuses. I'm expecting that to start rolling out very soon. So it'll be interesting. I may have to try and see if PayPal won't let me back, just so that I'm able to pay attention to what the changes are, on the customer side. On the merchant side, that one's going to be easy because that we can all go check. As soon as we find out some companies that are accepting crypto via PayPal as the provider, we'll be able to go start playing around with that and seeing exactly how it works from our side. All right. So true. LG lady, so true. I've noticed a couple purchases recently used PayPal, but I don't think I used PayPal. A lot of different card processing gets routed through PayPal, even if you don't have PayPal accounts sometimes. Absolutely. Musical aid. Vietnam is also a big player of XRP that I'm seeing too. No, they are. Vietnam has been a major in terms of crypto adoption. And one thing that is just a pretty much guarantee, you can look around the world and there are really a few different major factors in terms of crypto adoption. You have got the highly technological countries. Of course, they took a little bit of a head start on this because they were capable of running the data centers, capable of providing or supplying the hardware to facilitate these blockchains. But the number one driver is any type of country's economic woes. If the currency is going the wrong direction, then you are seeing the populace of that country massively adopt cryptocurrency. Vietnam, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, you can look all throughout South America, and you can do the same thing all throughout Africa. When it comes down to it, if the country's currency is going in the wrong direction, crypto is skyrocketing, especially with the ease of access that only a simple smartphone provides you. You don't need an actual banking infrastructure. And so in many countries where they don't have the infrastructure for a traditional financial system, they're actually skipping straight to cryptocurrency. And in and of itself, that's making for very, very, very rapid adoption by very large amounts of people because, well, there's a lot of people living in those countries. Musical lady, how about Venmo? I see this particular thing specifically at PayPal and Venmo in terms of centralization and things of that nature. I believe that PayPal actually owns Venmo. I think they already own Venmo. And I could be wrong, guys. Please do. If I'm wrong on that one, someone please shout out. But I think that PayPal actually bought Venmo back a couple of years ago. So I think that may be the left and the right hand of the same megalithic company. And yes, musical lady, I would agree entirely, though, on the concerns of centralization. Luckily, the ease of creating these stable coins and providing this system now, it's going to make it to where a PayPal or a Venmo or somebody like that, they're going to very easily be able to have competition against them. Whether any of those new smaller companies will be able to achieve a substantial market share, well, we'll have to wait and see. Joe Miller, which hardware wallet do you recommend? I recommend Ledger's. Ledger is the company. Whether it is a Ledger Nano S Plus, X, or etc., I recommend those. And there is in my link tree a referral code that'll get you a discount on those. Remember, essentially, it really comes down to how much functionality do you want and where do you do your cryptocurrency trading, or where do you want to have it stored, about whether you decide that you want one that has Bluetooth or one that doesn't. I do everything on the computer, and I just like my Nano S Pluses. So if you like having a bigger screen, though, or any of that other functionality with your hardware wallet, you're going to need to look at one of the pricier models. Although I would say they are awesome, and they are very, very convenient. It really comes down to a matter of what do you need. I don't play with my ledger, and so when it comes down to it, I'm not worried about having a big screen or anything like that. It very rarely goes anywhere. It very rarely gets pulled out and used. Talking about the BSD with PayPal. Yes, the PayPal stablecoin. Yep. And so that's actually what they're going to be using. That's what's allowing for PayPal to massively cut transaction fees. That's why we're going from a world of 3% credit card transaction fees to now PayPal is offering less than 1% for these transactions with cryptocurrency. And so this is going to spill over because the merchant is the one who's going to go, oh, well, now I don't want to sell to someone who's using a credit card. I'm losing 2% if I sell to someone who's using a credit card. And that means companies are going to start going, hey, no, pay me in crypto or pay more. And that's going to drive a gigantic wedge in the financial transaction markets because we are no longer going to see the same desire for people to use their debit and credit cards because vendors aren't going to want them. If I am running an online store, I never had an opportunity to accept cash. Of course, everybody prefers cash is king. You know, money talks and other things walk, and hard Uncle Sam dollars is the absolute preferred form for any business that can't accept cash. Because, well, you're paying less, you're saving money, you're making more money as a company, and, you know, maybe a few of them slip under the cash register instead of getting reported to the IRS. Things like that may or may not happen. And that may be one of the reasons people like cash so much. But if you were an online retailer, which nowadays just about all business is online, people are buying from Amazon, Walmart to go, they're ordering things via the phone. People are not going into brick and mortar establishments in the same degree that they used to. And those online companies never had an opportunity to accept cash. And so they were stuck. They had to pay the massive transaction fees. They had to deal with the insane payment processors, which I know how hard that is. And they had to deal with the insane online banks that facilitate the entire thing. That is about to be going away. And now they are going to be able to accept stable coins, accept crypto, pay massively less in terms of fees. And you better believe online retailers are going to tell you to stop paying them with a debit or credit card. They're going to stop. They're going to be like, no, I don't want that. Give me crypto. And through this, we're going to see pressure on customers. We're going to see pressure on merchants. And I think we're going to see a rapid change in terms of how many different companies, especially online, are going to start accepting crypto. Now, I don't think we are going to very quickly see Walmart at self-checkout allowing you to pay with crypto. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think it's going to take very long. You know, it's only going to be a couple of years, maybe less. But I think first things first, you're going to see Walmart and Amazon start accepting crypto. You're going to see more and more of the PayPals of the world start facilitating PayPal transactions. And you're going to see massive reductions in transfer costs. Sailor, what are your thoughts on XLM? I'm an XLM holder. I've been particularly happy with the recent little run, and I'm more excited about XLM nowadays than I have been in quite a while because I feel like the regulatory framework and the cessation of SEC hostilities is really going to benefit Stellar. And so highly optimistic, Sailor, would be what I would say right now. If you had asked me a year ago, I would have said, could somebody please poke it with a stick and see if it's alive? Now I'm feeling far more optimistic. And I was optimistic about XLM throughout the past couple of years. I never sold it. I never let go of it. But I was a little irritated, the same way with XRP. So Sailor, very optimistic at the moment on both, but definitely more happier with the I'm happier with the public face of XRP right now in terms of their general speed of getting things done. I'm not particularly happy with how fast Stellar, the actual company, is putting out updates and getting work done. So hoping to see an increase in the speed now that we have more of a clear regulatory framework. I strongly believe XLM sat and did nothing for years because of the XRP SEC lawsuit. I think that XLM was just sitting there trying not to get noticed. So I have a feeling they're going to get a lot more vocal with us, and I'm excited for it. Tony Stormcloud, should I leave my measly 3 Bitcoin on the Coinbase exchange? Tony, you're measly 300. Yeah. No, Tony, I'd get that onto a personal wallet now. I would get it now if I were you there, Tony. But I don't know if you're just messing with me on that one. I hear measly 3 Bitcoin. I want 3 Bitcoin. Tony, I'll take 1 or 2 off your hands. Don't worry about it, man. All right, Google. PayPal does on Venmo. That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't positive. But yes, it is a worry about centralization. All right, Shannon Martins. Hi, Zester. I use Exodus as a software wallet. Any good or better change to anything else? Only recommendation would be if you're using it as a software wallet, start considering squirreling some crypto away on a hardware wallet, something that is not online. But otherwise, Shannon, there are so many software wallets out there that I really have a tough time going through all of them. MetaMask, I just say MetaMask. I just say that one because it's the biggest, it's the oldest, it's the one I use. I've used tons. I have a phone that has like 40 different cryptocurrency wallets downloaded on some old phone that's squirreled away somewhere of all of the different services. And so I've used so many of them. I just use MetaMask. When it comes down to it, ease of access, it works on the phone, works on the computer, works everywhere. But it really is not. When it comes down to it, the most important things when you're using a software wallet is to remember the rules of software wallets. They are connected to the internet. That is walking money. That is not saving money. If you are using a software wallet, you are not saving crypto for the future, in my opinion. You're planning on using it sometime soon. Now, you can. If money is tight and you need off of an exchange, you absolutely can send it, make a software wallet, never connect the thing to the internet, never connect to a service, never actually use it to send transactions. And in that way, essentially, you created a form of a somewhat, I'd say, frigid wallet, maybe. But yeah, no, Shannon, I would not be overly worried when it comes down to it. I would just be thinking through, are you planning on this long-term storage, security and safety being of the utmost priority? I'd start looking towards a hardware wallet. Probably many times when I come across payments accept Venmo or PayPal, they say they send it to your PayPal, but then it ends up on my Venmo card. At least you get it, I guess. At least you get it. Hey there, Crystal. Welcome. All right. Trying to catch up with questions, guys. Sorry if there's any if I missed. LG Lady, here's a great question. LG Lady asks, Zester, if I haven't used my Ledger Nano Plus in a while, does it need updates before using? That's a great question because people often do. There are regular updates. You will do. We will need to. And so if you have not plugged in your Ledger for a long time, expect to need to do some updates. So whenever you do and you do start going through that and you're going through updates, and you're re-downloading the apps, the Ledger Live software that's on your phone or on your computer will walk the entire process through. You just merely connect the wallet. It says, hey, you need a firmware update. You download the firmware update. It resets the actual device. But a very important thing to do is that whenever you go and you have not used it for a while, or you're going through a firmware or any type of update, on your Ledger device or on the software on the computer, make certain you have your 24 words. It is a great time to double check that you have those 24 words because there have been it's things can happen. You're going through, you're downloading your firmware update, your house gets struck by lightning, or the internet goes out, and suddenly you have a messed up download. Make certain you have your 24 words. That way, if anything, any act of God were to occur, you do not have to worry about it. You'll be able to just put your 24 words in and get right back to your firmware update. I have never had that issue occur, but I have heard of people who have. So it's a great time. You need to do it anyway. Every once in a while, you need to make certain that your words are good, and that your hiding spot is still where you think it is, et cetera, et cetera. And so just make certain before you go through and update your wallet that you have put an eye on those 24 words. And that is not typically necessary because it's never really something to worry about, but better safe than sorry. Mary, I don't think I would want to buy anything with XRP or Bitcoin, i.e. $500 pizza thing. Maybe Litecoin or ETH Classic or some poop coin. I totally get that, Mary. Where I really think we're going to start seeing a lot of logic is going to be in stable coins. And because the reason I say that, Mary, is now when we talk about a Uniswap or something like that, say I go and I got $1,000. I'm going to need that $1,000 in a couple of months, but right now it's in my bank account. And in my bank account, that $1,000 really isn't earning crap, especially if it's sitting in checking. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. Even in savings accounts at any bank nowadays, it's just a waste of time. You're not even close to the inflation rate. What I could do, though, Mary, is I could take that $1,000, convert it to stablecoin. I could start yield farming with my $1,000, and then I could just immediately send it right back over to my Coinbase, my stable coins, and I can just start swiping my Coinbase card and making purchases with the stable coins. And so I really think that's where we're going to see it. That's where we're going to see the most logic. Where do I really want to be keeping my money? I'm going to want to be keeping my money where it's most appreciated. Money goes where it is appreciated. And how is it appreciated? It's appreciated through appreciation of the value. And in that regard, I think we're going to see that people aren't necessarily going to be sticking all their money into Bitcoin and then going around and swiping Bitcoin transactions. They're going to be putting money into stable coins or into cryptos that they do think are going to go up. There's probably going to be some that are a little bit riskier with the money that they're going to be spending. But I think stable coins in particular, you're going to see massive amounts. Why would I keep my money in my checking account or my savings account? I'm going to be far, far better off keeping it in Coinbase even. Coinbase offers 4.1% on your USDC. And so I get a Coinbase debit card or I get, a Coinbase account, and bam, I put my $500 check, just got paid for work this week, put my check in, immediately send it to Coinbase, buy USDC. This has cost me nothing. And I start earning a return on my USDC, and I can spend my USDC whenever I want. And I get lower fees when I do spend it because, look, I only have to pay 1%, and different people are going to be incentivizing me to do that. So, sorry, guys, I'm rambling a lot today. I'm very excited about the news. Not that I don't always tend to ramble a little bit. Okay, Sean Height, is there an advantage with PayPal over what you mentioned about BitPay? Sean, essentially, no. It's just there's massively more vendors who have PayPal. And so, Sean, from our side, as Freedom Forge Coffee being like, hey, we accept crypto via BitPay, that's going to be no problem. We just are going to turn on. We're going to opt in to PayPal Crypto Pay. And then, bam, we'll have the ability for you to pay with crypto via PayPal or pay with crypto via BitPay. And we'll have both of those options on the same platform. And then we'll find out which one we tend to prefer. But that's the great part about how this technology works. It literally is nothing more than 4 or 5 lines of code. You copy those 4 or 5 lines, you put it onto your website, and bam, you now have crypto payment offerings. It really is crazy. It really is crazy how it goes. Mile High Trish, even local small businesses are getting interested. I've been chatting with a few service folks that love the idea of getting rid of credit card charges. Absolutely. It will. It absolutely destroys businesses. If you think about restaurants or bars or things of that nature, anything really in the hospitality industry, those fees are destroying their business. And chargebacks and the like, that could absolutely turn. That could mean that you worked as a business owner. You worked for free, essentially for weeks or months or however long it may be. You work for free because of things like that. And the customer, well, it just doesn't affect them. Most people are not very conscious of what is actually going on when they do that swipe. So absolutely, you are going to see a huge desire to get rid of credit cards in the way that they exist today. Yeah, XLM Musical Late XLM is gaining ground finally. Nice bullish moves. It is. LG Lee, with merchants wanting crypto, will that in turn make crypto cost more, which in turn increases our cost of purchase? Well, when it comes down to it, LG Lady, I would look at it as, well, it's going to result in it would be fairly safe to assume it's going to result in more people buying more cryptos. And the more money flows into the crypto space, the higher that the prices on cryptos are likely going to get, depending upon which crypto they are and what services they provide. So I wouldn't look at that as increasing our cost of purchase. I would look at that as a very good thing for those of us who already have crypto, because we're going to be able to enjoy the appreciation along the way. In the long run, though, I don't think that it's really going to be much of a worry. Ultimately, $1 of XRP is always going to be $1. But if I buy $1 of XRP today, I'm probably going to have more than $1 in the future. I think, though, that with all of this, I'm not really very worried about it resulting in an increase of our cost. I strongly believe it's going to reduce the cost of goods, because we are going to take away the entire supply chain is littered with this problem. And so when you start to think about the fee that you paid as the customer, that is just the tip of the iceberg, because you bought a can of Sprite. Well, that can of Sprite has all the ingredients that went into making Sprite. It has the aluminum necessary to make the can. It has all of the necessary parts and pieces that came in that were necessary to build the machines that make the can, that make the Sprite, that put it all together. These fees and all of this all these problems in the financial system and how it works, they've been occurring throughout the entire supply chain. And so you're not only paying that extra 3% because of the credit card processing fee, you're paying ACH fees, you're paying all kinds of crap, because you're the one, as the actual consumer, who is covering the cost of everything that happened to get that product to you. You cover it all. And that means we should see reductions in the overall cost of goods, fundamentally because they are going to cost less to make. Fred one, you do not own anything until you hold it in your hand, wallet in hand. I think Zester said that. I am absolutely of that belief. I have a very, 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 very strong libertarian outlook when it comes to the importance of self-custody and of your finances and of your data. I strongly believe that we as individuals, and this is a very strong belief in the crypto space, that we as individuals have got to take back ownership over our data and over our finances. And that the only way to do that is for us to be the custodians of it. Matter of fact, I had a very interesting conversation with Mike Barra on last Friday about that one, where it's not just that we're going to be saying, not your keys, not your crypto. It's going to be not your keys, not your data. Because at some point in the future, we're going to be able to put everything on here. Birth certificates, everything. They'll all be tokenized. And I will be able to prove my ownership over them because I am the one who actually custodians the wallet. And I just have a very strong belief in that one. Not your keys, not your crypto. But we have all gotten very used to living in a world where we don't own anything. Ultimately, and I know that people will say, well, no, that's not how it works. But any of your money that is in a bank is not your money. It is the bank's money. You do not own that money. They do. The bank tells you if you're allowed to spend your money that you have in that bank. The bank makes the decision. And if the bank is the one making the decision, then you, as the actual consumer, as the customer of that bank, you do not own that money. You don't own it. The bank does. And that is the way it is legally viewed. And that's the way it legitimately is. It's not your money. It's the bank's money. And the bank decides if you're allowed to use it and what you're allowed to use it on and how you get to use it and when and how much you pay them in fees and how much they're going to give you in interest. It's not yours. It's the same idea here in crypto. The only difference is we actually have the opportunity with cryptocurrency and blockchain technology to actually own it. In the modern world, we have to have a bank account. It's essentially required. You have to give over ownership of your finances. Crypto is changing that entirely. No longer do we have to give up ownership. We can become the owners of our own finances and of our own data. All right. Sorry, guys. I'm having to catch up there with chat. I got to going on and on and on and on. And I know that I just missed some folks, but I saw the time and I was like, oh, crap. I need to catch up and see what I'm missing. So sorry for anybody whose questions I may have just missed there. Mobile One. Okay, to clarify, I can move money from bank account to Coinbase, buy USDC to earn 4.1%, get a Coinbase card to swipe at a grocery store. Yeah. That's what Coinbase offers. It's a Coinbase debit card. So it's specifically Coinbase debit. It takes the money from your account in terms of the transactions. I would say, Mobile One, that I need to use this service more to get more knowledge and get better with it myself as well, because this is something that I'm very anti-card. I've always been very anti-card. I do not. I don't know. I don't believe in credit. I don't believe it. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but I don't believe it. And so in that regard, I do need to start using it more. Especially using it at different places and just seeing how it all functions out. It does also, and so you can compound that mobile because the Coinbase card actually also offers rewards. And so you've got rewards on top of the fact that your USDC is sitting there and earning at least on however long it's sitting there. And so it's going to start making sense to, even if it's for a couple of days, because you put it in there for a couple of days, you earn a very, very tiny amount of general interest, but you didn't spend anything. It may be small, but it's going to add up over time. All right. Sailor, someone on a small budget was starting out today. What are the top 3 coins you suggest and why? Well, Sailor, I would say on the second part of it, where do you project / hope them to hit and in what time frame? That one always gets very, very difficult to really do. Ultimately, if I were saying that somebody was getting in at the very beginning and it was going to be their first foray, I'd go with the big 3. I'd go with Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. If somebody at that point, I would start looking to things like XLM and Stellar. In order to start fleshing it out. But Sailor, the most important thing, in all honesty, is to start small. Start small, make very small purchases, get comfortable, use the cryptocurrency, research the space, and you'll end up finding those other tokens, those other coins, and those projects that you want to be a part of. The biggest thing right now, and this is something that everybody needs to start doing, you need to start looking at crypto and each individual crypto like a company, not like a currency. It's a company. XRP is a company. we are doing as well as they as a company are doing. And now, especially when you look at XLM, you need to look at what Stellar is doing. Is Stellar making this happen? Are there more transactions going through on the XRP ledger? How much money is stored in RLUSD? How much volume is going through on a monthly basis into these cryptos? We have to start looking at crypto like the same way you would look at a corporate balance sheet. If a corporation was losing money, would you buy its stock? Probably not. Not unless you had a hard conviction that something was going to change. And I think that that's probably one of my best recommendations, Sailor, is that whenever you're looking at some of these other ones, look at it like a business. Bitcoin and Ethereum, look at those like businesses. How many countries? Where's the country adoption rate? Where are these treasuries going? Now, Bitcoin is kind of unique. And so I really think you can probably put it into its own little special Bitcoin category. But when it comes down to all the other cryptos, it is a business. Every crypto below Bitcoin, you need to look at like a company. And that will drastically change where you decide to start allocating things. That's why I always recommend that people research Chainlink. Chainlink is a crypto company, one of the big blue chip cryptos that provides API data services. They are an extremely successful company. They have partnered with MasterCard to provide to over 3 billion people the ability to pay with crypto. That is what we need to start looking at. What are they doing that is fundamental value? And so, yeah, once again, I'm off, Sailor, but I hope that helped a little bit. I would start with the big boys. I would not go dabbling in the world of smaller altcoins. I would go for XRP, Ethereum, Bitcoin. Maybe you start with Stellar and you avoid either Bitcoin or Ethereum. That would also, of course, be an option. There's lots of ways to skin the cat, essentially. QQ, Deborah Muse Wolf, what is the better stablecoin to hold instead of cash on a crypto exchange? Well, that actually, Deborah, leads me into one of my articles that I was very excited to share, but I tend to get a little distracted. Tether Gold rides bullion boom as central banks and ETFs rush to accumulate. As gold hits record highs amid economic uncertainty, Tether Gold sees continued growth, mirroring institutional and central bank demand for the metal. And so, Deborah, this year, your question just immediately made me think, when we start to talk about stablecoin, we're going to start having a very different conversation set. There are stablecoins that are pegged to gold, where I could buy one token and it represents 1 ounce of gold, real gold. Now I get to enjoy the appreciation of gold when it goes up, but I get to enjoy also the financial security of, well, having my money in a safer precious metal. And so I think we're going to have more options soon, Deborah. But as of right now, USDC is probably the safest one to regularly store in, or, of course, RLUSD as it gets easier to access. It is already not too bad to access, but USDC would probably be my recommendation of a US peg stablecoin for right now. In the next couple of months, Deborah, I expect that to become RLUSD. And so I'm expecting my opinion to change very soon on that front. But as of right in this exact moment, USDC would definitely be the correct answer. Musical A, we will have to change our mindsets when it comes to purchase methods when crypto really takes off. I don't foresee credit cards being very popular in the future with CC charges especially. Absolutely, Musical Lady. And I also hope that with this shift over, we start to see the idea of debt or credit changing. Ultimately, in crypto currently, with like loans that you can accept via crypto, they are always require you to provide collateral. And I strongly believe that is going to be another one of the major shifts about how this works, is that it's going to become far less of an idea of a credit card company just saying, hey, run up a big old fee and don't worry, we'll just collect interest off of you until the day that you die. I think that we're going to see people wisen up a little bit about that. At least I hope. I hope we're going to see people wisen up on it. And absolutely, though, musical lady, the fact that people are going to be getting a bad deal is going to drive people away. You know, the second that a business can say, hey, we don't accept credit cards, they are going to not, as soon as they can. The second that any business can keep their customers and not have a credit card, that credit card is going the way of the dodo. I know it is, because credit card companies, payment processors, and all of these are some of the most difficult people on the planet to work with. Every business owner can sit around and give you horror stories about their banking experiences. And so absolutely, musical lady. Absolutely. Way of the dodo. All right. Man. Everything is going running. All right. God wins again. How can we find someone to help with transfers? God wins again. I have my email. I do and will be allowing people to start scheduling hours in order to have one-on-one sessions to handle things like that for a fee. This is going to be a new alteration. I know I've been talking about it for a while. I believe this week it's going to be able to go live for those that have emailed me. I'm only going to go through the people that have emailed me first. And so once I've got through everybody that's emailed, then I'll open it up for, I'll start putting a little link in the description and on things like that. But first things first, I got to get all the people who have been waiting for a while and that I already feel very bad for how long it's taken. And so going to get that one knocked out first. And so please do, God wins again. If you do want to send an email along in the description, you'll be able to access that. Yeah. LG lady, will credit card fees increase to punish us for still using and earn miles? Will that see, LG lady, I think that you're going to see your credit, your debit card. Well, that is going to allow you to pay with crypto. And I think that's what you're going to just start seeing. Swipe, you paid with crypto. It's going to be a crypto debit card. And you're going to get rewards for using your crypto debit card or credit card. I think you'll see the same thing essentially where the airlines are going to start saying, okay, guess what? Use this American Airlines crypto card and earn miles on all of your purchases. I think we'll see the same thing move on over, LG lady. It'll just be the same general idea, but with crypto. Zox, what cold wallet do you use? I use the Ledger, but I really don't, guys. When it comes down to cold wallets, all I care about is that you have one and you use it. It really is it. So I tell people this one because it's easiest for me to answer your questions, and it's the one I've used forever, and it's the one that people who work in crypto use. But all I care is that you are getting a cold wallet and that you're trying to keep your crypto safe, because I'm far more worried about something happening to your crypto than which cold wallet it is. But so I use this one. I use Ledger Nano S Plus because I do everything on the computer. But Zox, I wouldn't be too worried if you have a different one. I wouldn't be worried. All right. What else do I have? Oh, yeah. Yep. Well, just as I was talking about earlier, this would be the other article that I did want to discuss a little bit. Big brands are sleepwalking when it comes to stable coins. With Amazon and Walmart exploring stable coins, institutions may be underestimating the potential exposure and the risks of privacy that it may cause. This is an opinion piece. I thought it was interesting, though. I thought it was very interesting because he does outline a few different possible worries or concerns that you could potentially see in terms of some of these big brands that are going to launch stablecoins. Look, PayPal already had a stablecoin And now PayPal is using that stablecoin. You're going to see Walmart and Amazon. They're either going to start using some other stablecoin or they're going to make their own. And I think that he makes a good point in this article that these companies don't really understand everything about what they're doing yet. They know that they're going to save money, but there is going to be a learning curve where we could see issues going back and forth. And so I thought this was a good one. It's not something that I'm I'm not super worried about it ultimately, but it is a concern when it comes down to it, because there's going to be a lot of new players, a lot of new companies, and a lot of new users. And so it does outline a very important need to be concerned about privacy, data protection, and things of that nature as we start to move towards public blockchains controlling more and more and more of the data out there. Because most of the time you've lived in a world that has been very, very, very difficult to actually get information. The internet massively changed that. But when it came to finances and it came to the movement of money, those were closed loop systems. You didn't get an eye. Now suddenly with crypto and blockchain, the entire financial network around the world is about to become public. And I do think that we're going to see some repercussions for that. So let's put that article in there for you to check out. Hey, the known Dark Senate, you're live earlier than normal or new start time. Actually, for anybody there that is kind of coming in or like that, thank you so much for joining this morning, the known. And I have moved to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And so, seeing the time, we're at over an hour, about to be an hour and 10 minutes. I am going to have to go and get off to getting some stuff done for the rest of the day. And so, I will be back on Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And thank you guys so much for joining. Definitely excited about everything going on right now in the world of cryptocurrency. And so I know today, extra rambling, extra time pontificating on things, but it's because we've got so much to be excited about being a part of this. We're watching history happen in front of our very eyes in terms of how the financial system works. And so love you guys so much. Thank you all for joining. We'll be back 11:30 a.m. on Wednesday, Eastern Standard Time. Love you guys.